Welcome to The Explainer. You know, we love breaking down fascinating source materials here, and today we've got a really interesting one. It's a text that tries to map out the consciousness of a godlike being. And believe it or not, it suggests the blueprint is actually surprisingly simple.
So the source material is called A Simple Diagram of the Consciousness Structure of a Celestial Immortal. And it really just jumps right in with this huge question. It gets you thinking, what is going on inside the mind of someone who's, well, immortal and enlightened? What's that even like? Okay, let's get into it.
All right, so let's start with the destination, right? The celestial immortal, or Kensien, as it's called in the text. The whole point here is that their consciousness isn't some big, messy, unknowable thing. Nope, the source says we can actually break it down, that it has a clear, understandable structure. Okay, so what are we talking about when we say celestial immortal? Well, according to this philosophy, it's a being who is almost one with God. They've got these 64 divine powers. Yeah, 64, that let them create and destroy anything they want. It's this state of total freedom and bliss, all happening on their own immortal island.
So, a consciousness with that much power, how do you even build something like that? It seems incredibly complex, right? But the source claims this whole magnificent thing is built on just 4 fundamental elements. That's it, just 4.
And look at how simple this structure is. First up, you've got God as the core. The idea is that the immortal's consciousness is basically a reflection of God's. Next, there's creation. That's them actually using all that divine power. But why create stuff? Well, that brings us to entertainment, which is all about finding joy and bliss in what you've made. And lastly, you have game. This is the social part, inviting other immortals to come hang out and share in these amazing performances of divine power.
Now I know what you might be thinking. A 4-part structure for a godlike mind? That sounds way too simple, right? And you'd be right to think that. The text actually tackles this head-on by introducing this fascinating paradox that's really at the heart of the whole concept.
And here's the quote that sums it all up. The simplest is the most complex is the simplest. This is the key takeaway. See, the structure of an immortal's mind is simple, but the path for a normal person like you or me to get to that level of simplicity? Oh, that's incredibly complex. So that's the real question, isn't it? How do you actually do it?
Okay, so this is where things really shift. We've seen the what, this simple 4-part consciousness. Now the source gives us the how. It lays out a kind of roadmap for how a regular human, with all our messy thoughts and feelings, can actually make that journey.
And the text literally asks this exact question. But the answer isn't some magic trick where you suddenly get 64 divine powers. No, the whole process is about one thing: purification. It's all about systematically cleaning up and refining your own consciousness.
So, the path is broken down into a 4-step transformation. Think of it as a journey inward. The whole goal is to take that tangled, messy human mind of ours and just distill it, boil it down to its absolute purest form.
So, here are the 4 things you'd need to do according to the source. Step 1 is study, specifically Shanyan philosophy, to really understand how reality works. Step 2 is about living a second home lifestyle, which is all about simplifying your life and letting go of attachments. Step 3 is engaging in these home games. Think of them like mental workouts to sharpen your mind. And finally, Step 4 is practice Shanyan cultivation, which is basically meditation to get in there and directly purify your consciousness.
And what's cool is that each of these practices has a very specific goal. Think of it like this. Our minds start out as this chaotic, tangled ball of yarn, right? Well, studying the philosophy helps you untangle it to get an orderly consciousness. Then, living that simple second home life helps you get rid of all the extra yarn you don't need, leading to a simple consciousness. Playing those mental games? That's like polishing what's left until it's a clear consciousness, super focused. And finally, cultivation, that's what helps it all grow into a perfect mind garden, a state of pure consciousness.
So, the big takeaway here is the metaphor the text uses. This whole process isn't some mysterious, impossible leap. It's presented as a tourist map. It's a guide with a clear path. And the idea is if you just follow the map, step by step, you'll get closer and closer to that state of a celestial immortal.
And that brings us right back to that paradox from the beginning, leaving us with this one big question to chew on. Is ultimate complexity actually found in radical simplicity? I mean, according to this philosophy, the highest state of being isn't about adding more stuff, more knowledge, more power. It's about taking things away,
a tough, deliberate process of stripping everything down until only the pure, simple core is left.